Ross. Thank you so much for joining us today. I want to start off first by asking you, what brought you here to Oklahoma City?
Well, you know, I'm traveling the country right now with my book. I also did some speaking engagements here.
Yes.
And I came here to party at Mango.
Hey, you gonna turn up with us? Already, that's a great look. Listen, you are well known for a lot of different things. Your book being one of them. Talk a little bit about your book and the success that you've had with that.
Well, you know, I wrote my book when I was in prison, when I had a life sentence without the possibility of parole.
Right.
And I was trying to figure out how could I get back to society.
Right.
And then I read an article about Tookie Williams' book almost winning a Nobel Peace Prize.
Okay.
So it popped in my head that I should write a book.
Very smart, very smart. And, you know, I mean no offense by this, but you were at one time considered illiterate, and now you have a book out. That is a huge accomplishment for your life.
I was totally illiterate, couldn't read, couldn't write.
Right.
Taught myself how to read in prison, and now I'm a best-selling author.
Oh, my gosh. That is so awesome. That is so awesome. Okay, so let's go back a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about how you got started with the drugs and in the game. How did you first get your first hit? What happened? How did you get into it?
Well, you know, I was kind of down on my luck.
Right.
You know, I was sitting on my mom's front porch. I didn't know what I was going to do, what my next move was. And one of my homeboys called me and said he had the new thing.
Right.
And he told me to get over to his house immediately. So I went over, and he laid it out on the table. It was this yellow powder.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
Wow, that's incredible. And I actually read that at one time in the 80s, you actually were selling what would now be converted into about $3 billion per day.
Well, it's a lot of money. I don't know what the number is. I had days that I made $3 million
Right.
profit.
And that was in the 80s.
And that was the 80s.
Wow,
yeah.
that is incredible. Listen, let me ask you this. You've been through a lot. You've come a long way. Let's talk a little bit about the other Rick Ross, so to speak. Okay?
Who is that?
The other Rick Ross.
Who is the other Rick Ross?
Well, not the real one, obviously. Let's talk a little bit about that. I know about the court case. I know that got dismissed, unfortunately. Let me ask you, what compensation, if any, have you gotten from Rick Ross personally, his camp, or anything for basically stealing your whole identity?
Nothing at all.
Wow.
He just mentioned that he knew me a couple weeks ago. So.
Whoa, wow. I mean, what do you feel about that? How does that reflect on the hip-hop game today and what's going on in the industry?
Well, it definitely shows the disconnect with reality.
Yeah. Okay, so on that same note, speaking of getting real big, what's the next step for you? What do you have planned? What are you doing?
Well, right now, I got a contest that I do every month in Atlanta.
Okay.
And it's called Atlanta's Next Up.
Okay, what does that do?
Well, I'm looking for the next hot artist out of Atlanta. Everybody in L.A. says Atlanta is the place. Atlanta this, Atlanta that.
Yeah.
I said, okay, if that's the case, I'm going to go down to Atlanta, and I'm going to find the next hottest artist, and he'll be signed to Rick Ross Music Group.
Hey, that's a good look.
Talent shows down there now for 2 months.
Okay.
I got another one coming up this March. And it's been crazy. I found some wild talent.
Wow, that's incredible. So how can folks get a hold of you? How can they find you? You're on Facebook. Are you on Twitter? How can they get a hold of you?
You can get me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Freeway Ricky with the Y.
Freeway Ricky. And your book, where can they find your book? Hold that up for them. Where can they find your book at?
You can get the book at rickrossbooks.com. You can get it at Amazon. Or you can catch one of them young cats on the street selling them. I got 9 more tonight. I'm about to sell out in Oklahoma like I did in Dallas.
Hey!
Atlanta, Houston,
Hey!
all over the world.
Alrighty, make sure y'all go check him out. This is the real Rick Ross. It's no games, it's no playing. This is the real guy right here. All that stuff the other one rapped about, he lived it. So make sure y'all go check him out.
Real talk.
Yes, we appreciate you. Are you going to be coming back to Oklahoma anytime soon?
Absolutely. I got a lot of family down here.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Well, we look forward to seeing you once again, the real Rick Ross, Oklahoma ENTV. Thank you so much, and we appreciate you joining us. Thank you.